essence of an absurdity and a disgrace, where the police think that the best use of their time is to take an 87-year-old Holocaust survivor in for questioning because he walked across Trafalgar Square carrying a bunch of tulips. That is what they have descended to. It is part of a systematic attack on the right to protest in this country, driven by a government that is scared of the mass opposition in this country to Israel's genocide against the Palestinian people. Since the start of our huge protest movement, there has been one effort after another to stop us marching. Suella Braverman, if anyone remembers her or is haunted by her in their nightmares, she tried to ban us, and all she got was a brawl at the cenotaph for her pains. And sacked, I'm happy to say. And then we had Baron Wolney, Lord Walnut, who was the government's advisor on political extremism, when he isn't lobbying for arms firms and sponsoring pro-Israeli initiatives. He came up with one idea after another to stop us marching. And now it is alleged that we have to have our marches restricted because of non-existent threats to Jewish worshippers wishing to attend synagogue. There are not and have never been any such threats associated with this movement at all. It is the latest smear dreamt up by those who endorse Israel's criminal conduct in Gaza to stop us marching. But if we are in the presence of an absurdity here today, let us not forget it is much, much worse for the Palestinian people of Gaza, after Israel has torn up the ceasefire it itself signed up to and renewed its onslaught with additional barbarism. Let us never forget that whatever challenges we are facing here, they are as nothing to those facing the heroic Palestinian people. And I can speak, I am sure, for all of us if I say that no amount of harassment from the police or from politicians is going to break this movement or is going to stop us from marching and demonstrating and protesting by all means possible in support of the Palestinian people.
This attack on our right to protest is very, very serious. If they win and shut down our protests about Palestine, they will stop people protesting about anything. That is what they want to do. They have said that protest causes disruption. That's the purpose of protest. That's why we protest, because we want people to listen to us.
This business of Stephen breaking through the police line doesn't make any sense. He's older than I am, and I couldn't break through a police line in Trafalgar Square, and I'm sure he can't either. So this excuse of for bringing him in just does not make any sense.
I was in the demonstration a little bit behind Stephen and the rest, and the police lines actually moved away and gestured us through. So it was a careful trap that they had set up for the demonstration. Stephen, of course, stands in a long line of Jewish, anti-Zionist, socialist radicals, going right back to the Bund at the turn of the last century, the beginning of the last century, when they warned the Zionists then that if they pursued their aims of establishing a Jewish, ethnic, ethnocentric state and taking land from the Palestinians, who of course already lived there with their own extensive civilization, that would end up with reproducing the racism that they purported to oppose. And of course that warning, all those decades and decades ago, was tragically right, because Israel is riven with racism in its own society. My legal partner is also the daughter of a Holocaust survivor, so we have a commitment in this game and we know what we're up against. The right wing of the Zionists in the formation of Israel, the use of a number of terrorist Jewish, at that time, terrorist gangs, the Irgun gang and the Stern gang. They were specialists in in assassinating people who opposed them. And on the top of their list were socialist anti-Zionists. So we've been here a long time. And Starmer is playing that game by continuing to supply arms to Israel, by reeling back Lamy when he actually called out quite correctly the blockade of Gaza of food and water and medicines as a crime against humanity. We're in a big and serious struggle for free speech here, and as we say, we will not give up until all of the land is all free for all of us. From the river to all of the sea, we will all be free.
I think there is a long tradition of protest movements carrying flowers against power. And I think Stephen and the other people, the other protesters were carrying flowers. They were carrying flowers to the police. They were carrying flowers to show that we are peaceful protesters. And I think that the fact that this government doesn't understand, the fact that this government wants to support Israel and the genocide that Israel is perpetrating, in spite of the fact that Holocaust survivors and people carrying flowers are protesting, say something about the intentions of this government.
This is all about repression of protest and clamping down on the Palestine movement, and in particular the anti-Zionist Jewish voice. A voice that is important in the movement because it shatters the narrative that all Jews support the genocide. We do not. We stand 100% behind Stephen, and we'll make damn sure that he gets the full support of the movement. Is it coming from the top? Of course it's coming from the top. We've seen it with Stephen, we've seen it with other leadership in the movement, we've seen it with our own protest with IJAN and many others. There cannot be that level of consistency and hostility and interference with our right to protest if it was not official policy. Unwritten, of course, but they are bit by bit taking away our Articles 9, 10 and 11 rights under the European Convention of Human Rights, which is enshrined in British law under the Human Rights Act, and we were going to fight them all the way.
Stephen isn't going to make any comment publicly now at all. He's not going to make any comment publicly at this point. I can speak on his behalf simply to say that he did very well in the interview. He did very well in the interview. That is now over, thank God. And we will need to wait for the next stages of this investigation. I can't say anything more than that because there are still a number of other people to be interviewed in relation to the events on January the 18th, and we do not wish to make any public comment about these matters while the investigation is going on with the police. And that's all that I'm afraid we can say at the moment. Stephen is extremely grateful for all of the support that he has been given and no doubt will continue to be given. It's quite overwhelming, in fact, to see so many people out here and to feel all of the love and the warmth and the encouragement and the support from everyone. And I know he feels that very, very deeply.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.